Hey everyone, welcome back. We are here for another installment of the story. As we had mentioned before, we are rewinding, so we're picking it up at week 2.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, sorry, I guess, yeah. It is God Builds a Nation. And so it starts off with the Lord talking to Abram, whose name is also, it changes to Abraham later, but he says, "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse. And all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you." So that's a very, very deep, strong promise that God is making to Abram.
Yeah, that's God's first covenant with Abraham. He's like, I got this, and I'm going to make you great.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, Abraham was just like, I mean,
sure?
But I'm
old.
kind of old, and I don't have any kids. So how am I going to have a nation through my sort of lineage when I don't have any kids? That's not making any sense.
Right. But Abraham did have faith, and he believed in in God's word.
Yeah. Unfortunately, fortunate, whatever, his wife, Sarai, was like, all right, well, since, God made you this promise and I can't have any kids, why don't you go sleep with our slave woman or whatever, Hagar.
Right.
And Abraham was like, I don't really want to, but all right. So Abraham does, and him and Hagar do have a child named Ishmael.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, as these things usually go, Sarai and Hagar had issues, obviously, and started fighting and quarreling.
Right.
And based on, Sarai being his real wife and all that, Hagar got kicked off the land.
Got the boot.
Her and her child were kicked off. So her and Ishmael were kicked off. Another story that we can't really get into right now.
Yeah.
But so they're out of the picture now. And we have Sarai, who did get pregnant.
At the ripe old age of, 100.
Old.
Yeah, she was old.
And she gave birth to Isaac.
So in comes Isaac, born to Abram, and okay, yeah, so God is fulfilling his promise. But God reaches out to Abram and requests rather deep sacrifice.
Serious,
pretty serious stuff. He requests that Abram sacrifice his one and only true son, Isaac. Abraham is just like, well, geez, I guess
okay.
I got to, yeah.
He's like, you know what, if that's what you want, God, I'll do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to be faithful to you and sort of believe your word. And he does go forth and climbs up this mountain and goes forth
with Isaac.
And like, I'm going to sacrifice Isaac. He lays Isaac down on like the wood and stuff that, the stuff that they have burnt offerings on. And he lays him down, and as he's ready to start the sacrifice process, hears the voice of the Lord calling on to him, saying, hey, that's really cool that you followed my word, and
you don't need to.
you don't need
test
to kill your son. Yeah. I got this, and I will keep my covenant to you, and you will be the father of many nations.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at that point everyone was just like, whew, I don't know how to explain that one to Sarah when I got home.
I think if anyone was, I'm pretty sure it was Isaac.
That too. But so some good news comes out of that. Mm-hmm. And, they go forth in life, and Isaac becomes the father as well.
He does. So Isaac obviously grows up. So we think of it as when he was a child. He grows up, and he marries Rebecca. And him and Rebecca have 2 sons, Jacob and Esau. And you may have heard of them. Their names are kind of popular. But basically, it was kind of the tale of the 2 sons.
Similar to Cain and Abel in a way.
Yeah, but there was, a mama's boy and a papa's boy kind of thing. And so Jacob was like Rebecca's favorite.
Yeah.
And Esau was Isaac's favorite.
And he was also the firstborn.
Right. So especially back in that time.
In that time, the firstborn was a serious status to have.
Yeah. You're entitled to like double the inheritance. And,
you have birthrights from that.
So, so Esau was in that position, but Jacob was a bit of a deviant in the sense that he would constantly like trick his brother into things. It was almost like those stupid little bets that you have with your siblings to get a second dessert or something.
Yeah.
But these were much more serious.
Yeah, more than dessert.
Yeah.
And at a point he got Esau to sell him his birthright. He didn't really sell it, kind of exchanged, kind of a thing. He's just like,
kind of blackmailed.
Yeah, how about I do this and give you birthright? Fortunately, it worked, and Esau sold his birthright to Jacob.
Right.
And at this point in time, Rebecca was like, all right, your dad's dying, and he needs to give his blessing to his firstborn and eventually to you, but obviously the firstborn gets more because he's the firstborn.
Gets a bigger blessing.
Yeah.
And at this point, Isaac wasn't really a big fan of Jacob.
Yeah.
So
Rebecca and Jacob sit down, and Rebecca was like, all right, I'm going to have you wear your brother's clothes, and your brother's also quite hairy, so I'm going to, like, grab some fur and stuff, and he's going to throw it on your skin, so that when your dad, because at the time Isaac was also kind of blind.
Yeah, blind, yeah.
So he can't really see his kids that well. So he's like, all right, so when your dad touches your arms, he feels the hairiness, he knows that you are truly Esau.
Right.
So she does that to Jacob, and Jacob goes in, and his father's like, hey, who are you? It's like, hey, it's me, Esau. I went and did what you said. I, killed the animals, and I brought you a great meal, a great feast, and
which Rebecca just made in the back.
Yeah, and obviously she knows what her husband likes, so she made it, like, top-notch. So he was like, here you go, Dad, I'm here for my blessings. And so his dad was like, all right, feels him up, and he's like, it is truly you, my son.
Mm-hmm. And he blesses him.
He gives him all the blessings.
So he gives him an extra blessing, an extra birthright kind of thing, like just really top-notch stuff kind of thing.
Yeah, favorite son kind of stuff.
Yeah. Then Esau comes in from doing the real work. Like he was actually out hunting and gathering what kind of Isaac had requested.
Yeah.
Doing it all himself, and he comes in and he's like, hey Dad, I'm back. And he's like, pardon? Like, who's that?
I just gave you a blessing. Like, what you doing here?
So, unfortunately for Esau, the blessing that was given already was irrevocably placed. So, once it's given, no takesy backsies. And
so takes backs? Take backsies?
Takesy backsies. They're all the same.
Okay.
And so that was kind of hard news to take from Esau's perspective. So, a lot of anger started brewing.
So now that Esau has, he's pissed off, as rightfully so, that his brother has now stole his blessing, and he goes off in anger, and Rebecca's like, all right, Jacob, your brother's kind of pissed, so I'm going to have you go live with, the relatives for a little while until your brother cools off, and, we won't tell him where you are. So that happens. Now, fast forward a couple of years, serious decades. Go on. So the next person.
Oh, Joseph! Oh, no! So Jacob, this is Jacob's son.
Yes.
Yeah. So Jacob has a son, Joseph.
12 sons.
He has 12 sons, yes.
He sold his oats, that's for sure.
Yeah. Actually, they were with a bunch of different women, weren't they?
He had 12 kids.
Anyway,
Joseph was one of them.
Yes.
And through Joseph, we have another great lineage that continues. Fortunately, we have to get to that one next week.
Sure. So, Joseph and his 11 brothers, they kind of got along, but kind of didn't.
They were all jealous of Joseph because he was also the favorite. He was a little baby.
So Joseph was the favorite, and he was treated to these things. I'm sure many of you have heard about Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. So that dates back to this when Jacob gave his son Joseph this beautiful garment attire, and Joseph's just like, damn, like fancy.
Fly.
Yeah.
Oh, you fancy, huh?
And all his brothers are like, you know what, this isn't cool. So they get together and they're just like, guys, this is no good. So a few of them, there's 11 of them. A few of them are like, yeah, let's just rough them up a little. Some were like, let's kill him. And they're like, oh, jeez, let's take it easy.
Yeah.
And some,
because they were just like, if we kill him, we'll kill our father, because our father is going to have a heart attack pretty much if he loses his kid. So let's try not to kill our father. Let's,
So what do they do? They, capture him. They kind of tackle him, whatever, and kind of take him away. And they're kind of threatening him and being all up in his face. And then they, what they do? They don't kill him. They sell him into slavery. Thanks, brothers. Like.
Good old siblings.
Just
sibling rivalry at its best, huh?
And
there's a lot of that in the Old Testament. A lot of sibling rivalry.
And so they, Jacob is like, hey, where's my bud? Where's Joseph? And they're just like, I don't know. But then they find they go to Jacob and they say he was killed. Yeah. He was attacked by wild animals.
They put like ox blood on his coat to be like,
look,
he's the blood of the animal, and he's definitely dead if the animal left this.
And so so Jacob is devastated.
Yeah. And we'll pretty much have to leave it at that, I think, with their story.
Yeah.
And now get to the lessons to be learned in this story.
Yeah.
First thing I want to say that just came to me as we were saying this is sibling rivalry at its best, as I just said. There's a lot of things that I think we go through in life, and once you have siblings or family members that you're close with, that things happen. You know, you disagree, you get in fights, people don't like each other. You know why people say, like, you know, nothing's new under the face of the earth or under the sun? There's nothing under the sun. Yeah. There's nothing new under the sun. Something that you're going through, like, go to the Bible. Could you imagine having your brother sell you into slavery? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine your brother killing you?
Plotting to kill you?
Yeah, like, there's just so many crazy things that it's like, other people have been there before, and somehow, someway, we all survived this.
Yeah. But, yeah, so some of the lessons, other lessons that we take, we jump back right to the very start.
Yeah.
And it's Abraham, the promise that God said, hey, you know, even though you're old, you're going to have an abundance of descendants come from you. And, you know, having the faith that even though that sounds
totally difficult and unbelievable,
and just unrealistic of all kinds, like Abraham continued to have that faith and continued to believe that and was rewarded.
Yes.
And so one of the lessons is that it doesn't matter how difficult or how unreal it seems, you gotta continue to keep your faith even through those times.
Through difficult times, it's very important to do that. And also, I think when we face a lot of situations where we are easily, I guess, discouraged could be the right term. Like, it's hard to trust in God, but we do have to remember that those promises are there. And one of my favorite, quotes in the Bible or verses in the Bible is the promises are yea and amen. It's like they are there. Just believe in it and trust in those promises. Trust in God's word. Trust that you are here for a reason. That your faith will guide you somewhere. And similar to something that I think I've said to Dave a couple of times is you can't have faith and be worried at the same time. Faith and worrying, they just don't exist in the same world. It's just not possible. So if you're going to have faith, have faith. Don't worry. Just have faith. If you're going to worry, then worry your life away, honey. But you can't say you have faith and worry at the same time. So that's, I think, a second lesson is just trust in God's promises when you're discouraged. Because biblical faith, as we know it, is believe in what God will do. Believe that He will do what He said He will do. Yeah, just believe in that. It is so important. It is groundbreaking. It's heavenly. Just having faith. And do you want to go with the third point?
And the third point is trusting in God's promises even when it is demanding. So I don't know who that's directly to. Is that to like Abraham?
Yes.
Like on his family?
Yes.
So
taking his son up to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
That is quite demanding.
Yeah, and but you know what? He had faith during that time and during that process, and he continued. I'm sure as he's walking up that mountain, he's probably just like, this seems crazy. Like, this is
but God, I'm trusting you. I'm having faith that this is for a reason, and I don't need to worry.
And even, not even that, he might not have even known that his son would make it, but he was like, God, you've asked me to do this, I will do this. This is going to be hard on me.
Yep.
But I will do it because that's what you've commanded, kind of thing.
And we can sort of connect that to a New Testament event when Jesus was getting ready to be taken at the Garden of Gethsemane, and he was just praying to God, and he's like, Lord, if this is your will, let thy will be done, but if you can, please take this cup away from me, if possible, but if not, I'm here, I got you, I'll do this. So it's just that, it's hard to express that faith, but I think it's within all of us when we need it. It's there, just reach and grab.
Right.
Those are really my main lessons from today, and I hope you guys can connect with that at this moment. If you're facing something discouraging, something that's demanding, something that seems difficult, faith is there for you to hold on to.
And as always, let us know. Like, feel free to start some dialogue. We definitely encourage that. We love talking, as you can tell. And
we'll respond to all your comments,
absolutely.
And we want to talk about this stuff.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. Oh no, I don't know what chapter 3 is. Chapter 3 with, is that Joseph, from slave to deputy pharaoh. So that's pretty cool.
So that's a little sneak into what happens to Joseph, who got sold into slavery.
Yeah.
So
hope to see you then.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Bye.